Since the last time you were here, the update on the Stinson Junior would be that we finally finished the upper deck. It's been a lengthy process. We haven't been working full-time on the airplane, but as I mentioned last time, we were replacing the original tabs, which secured all the woodwork to the fuselage framework with a clip, basically. The original ones, which I have in my hand here, had kind of pinchers on it, and you'd squeeze them together with a pair of pliers and it would enter the wood and splinter the wood. So we've taken all those off and ground off the welds and put on a flat type little fitting that we manufactured, probably about 100 of them, and they get a hole drilled in them, and they sit along the vertical tube where the stringer needs to be supported, and it's usually just the vertical ones that are supported. They bypass the diagonal and are supported at every vertical tube. And then with a hole drilled in them, we put a 440 screw. Same thing with all the ones on top. Much more secure installation, and over years there'll be less warping between the stations with the fabric that pulls, because we're using a dope process for the finish with seconite. It should outlast us, basically. And here we have the old one, and this is basically a new one, which is just a flat piece of 4130, around 60,000, 63,000s. And basically they get installed on the tube like that, instead of this one, which was welded on with one little tack on one side in place. The wood was put in place, and then these pinchers dug into the wood. And basically, over time, because of vibration and fabric pulling, like I said earlier, cracks start, longitudinal cracks in the spruce. So we're trying to eliminate that, and it was very bad on the belly stringers, which tend to get oil. This has a radial engine in it, and oil works its way down through, softens the wood, even with epoxy varnish, which we use today. And again, hopefully this will last longer than we do. We have to radius each one of these webs at this spot so the stringer gets pulled in to go with the flow of the side of the airplane. The window has already been done. They've been radiused, pulled in, and this is ready for a gluing block, where if this had not been contoured or the radius hadn't been put in, this would be sticking out, because the fabric comes down off the top of the fuselage, gets glued around the window, comes down here. This would be a big bump. So even though it's an old airplane and they're not perfect, we try and make them perfect here and take away some of the lumps and bumps and make it as smooth as possible and really have a nice transition. And the same thing in the back, where this stringer ends, it comes to a point where the fabric and sheet metal is sheet metal in the back that covers the tail, and where the fabric transitions, you can see where this one hasn't been contoured at all, and this one we've brought to almost like the shape of an arrow, basically. And the idea is to get everything to transition real smoothly back here. This is all sheet metal. The tail wheel's installed back here. The horizontal stabilizers mounted in here. So it's all covered with sheet metal for access, so you can do maintenance and work on it when needed. So with the top deck finished, pretty close to being finished, you can see the two center stringers are full length. They go all the way to the front windshield cross member that we've already built. You'll see the next two outboard stringers, which aren't full length, which tie into this more rectangular piece. You'll notice that these are what they call a hat section. They're round with a T, very strong. This corner piece, we call it a corner stringer, runs the full length on all four corners. The bottom ones aren't installed yet. What this does is it supports very thin aluminum that rounds and wraps around the corner gets fastened to all the clips that are under here. What Stinson did to give these boxy airplanes a little bit of shape, you know, like a lady, they rounded off the corners with aluminum. Instead of gluing the fabric around the basic longeron and having it look kind of angular and choppy. So I'm almost at that stage with the aluminum members that get fastened to this. They get screwed to the inside of this stringer all the way, and they're in segments. Unfortunately, when they're in segments, you see the joints once the fabric is on and is finished. We've got a company that is willing to make us a one-piece section, so we have to make this piece of aluminum kind of go around a corner, so to speak, and to get it to fit. And it's got a double angle on the bottom, so it tucks in under where it can be fastened to these clips. That's going to be a lot of work to do that in one piece, but it'll really make the airplane stand out. What we're trying to do is just take a few wrinkles out of the airplane that maybe Stinson put into them, because these things were mass produced during the Depression, which they built 100 of them. There are less than 10 left now. There's 4 up here in the Northwest, and I feel really privileged to have this airplane. About 2 weeks ago, we had a comment come through on our website. A gentleman happened to be looking through our website and looking through the FAA databases for various aircraft that he owned, and I've been told it was over 50 airplanes in his career of flying of 80 years. He's 93 years old, I believe, right now. But the great thing about this gentleman, not only is he still alive, he's still flying. He's flying a Piper Cub. And the remarkable thing is, this airplane in 1949, 48, 49, and 50 was the airplane that he used to court his wife. I've made the offer for the museum to bring him out here when this airplane is done and reunite him with his old gal.